All right, welcome back to the power rankings. How we doing?
Woo, a week before finals, doing pretty good.
I know, yeah, excited to be back to it.
All right. Well, this week's episode is brought to you by procrastination. Why do now what you can probably do later for more stress?
That has certainly never bit us in the butt at all. Unrelated apologies for missing last week. You ready to jump into this one?
Yeah, let's go. So we're looking at a bracket this week.
Yeah,
We
so
have
for anyone who they didn't listen to the power rankings for the last league or doesn't remember what I wrote before, for this,
boo.
instead of ranking these teams, we're gonna talk about the relevant stuff for this week, which is who we think is gonna, how we think the playoff bracket's gonna go, and
Yeah.
what sort of we envision, kind of our guesses on what we envision is gonna happen here.
Yeah, so everybody has access to see the schedule for the first round of the bracket, but we'll also tell you. So white versus pink, so the 1 seed versus the 8 seed. 2 seed versus a 7 seed, so yellow versus orange. 3 seed versus 6 seed, so blue and purple. And then 4 seed versus 5 seed, which is green versus
And
black.
I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun to talk about
So
with
much to say about it.
that.
All right, and then we have predictions for who we think is going to win that one, and then we'll base the rest of the ranking around that.
Yeah, you want to jump into it?
Yeah, let's go. So first one is the 1 seed versus 8 seed. So
So white versus pink. So first off, we got to talk about pink here. They went 3-0 last week.
yeah, they
Missing
tear.
yeah, missing Blanche. So I guess we know who the Lymphac is there.
That's true.
They
True.
were
Also
also
missing Summers, but I
is
don't think he's on the team
yeah,
anymore.
is Summers so Summers used to do a thing with the OU Fall League where he wanted to give them money, but didn't want to actually play in the league. So he would sign up and then say that he was not going to be there at all until finals. Summers, you could have just told us you wanted to give us money if you weren't going to play the whole time, man. Um,
Though I do think John Lee as a substitute is pretty good. I think if you were going to sign up and give somebody free play.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, Leah's got some shout outs from his team that Galen hit me up with that. Managed to play almost every point, which sometimes we would trash on someone for, but last week when every team was playing with exactly one sub,
Yeah.
we'll just go ahead and appreciate the hard work there. Played really intense defense, was always open. I did not play against Pink last week. Oh no, I did. Yeah, I did.
Embarrassing.
No, it took me a second. Yeah,
Well, maybe you don't remember because Galen's quote is that they put on an amazingly boring show of hard defense and patient offense,
yeah.
which is fair. I think reminiscent of Red Team a little bit from last indoor. John Leaz does play kind of perfect ultimate.
Yeah, his defense is really good. His resets were incredibly good. His throws, like he put people in position. Saying Galen saying that Pink played boring defense is true. They played boring offense as well.
Yeah.
Boring offense is good offense. I also need to shout out Britt here. We talked a couple of weeks ago. I said that like I think Britt really needs to be the person who starts winning Pink games.
Yeah, the tallest one on the team. Yeah.
Yeah, she was doing that. She was really
Yeah.
popping off last week.
Man, now I wish we'd played them so I could see it. Yeah, I also remember Kenzie had 3 scores in a row on Kenneth as the D.
That's what I heard. That's crazy.
Yeah.
We'll talk about purple more when we get there, but that's really impressive. So pink, obviously, really great to have your best week right before playoffs,
Yeah, that's gotta feel good.
and I just don't think it's gonna matter. I
If we
don't.
weren't playing white, I think it
I
would.
think there are potentially matchups where I say like, hey, maybe pink is kind of starting to gel and they could do something here. This is just a matchup nightmare, right? Pink's problem has always been what? They're short. Who are they playing? The tallest team in the league by far. Um,
Yeah,
White is going to do the stuff that they always do and have an easier time at it, and Pink is going to have an even tougher time with their biggest limitation.
yeah.
It's possible. I actually think that White, to me, of our like, there's so White and Yellow being our like top two teams. I think that White, when I've played them, has seemed more open to an upset. Like when Yellow is clicking, they're impossible to score on, and then
Mhm.
sometimes they just screw around. But I think White has been winning games just because they're better.
Uh-huh.
Um, I don't know. I think that White will win this one. Maybe something can happen, but like they're so hard. And they've been like kind of clicking too. Specifically, Nathan shouted out Jamara and him having really good like two-man game in the end zone while they cut off each other and make space. I think that Nathan said she had like three different scores last week
Ooh,
just because he was running around being super tall, attracting attention, and she just popped open for an easy score.
love
Um,
that.
Playing out that really well. Marshall has been playing crazy. We played them last week, and it was close for about I don't know a couple of minutes before they started running on us.
Yeah.
There was a shot that went up to him that I put everything into D'ing. Like bodies collided, we both dove for it. He had like a step on me, but like if I'm diving and I touch the disc, I don't expect that many people to come down with it, but he did. He left his feet, he grabbed the disc, he landed. Glasses fell off, and with his offhand managed to hold me over his glasses so they didn't break. Crazy athletic.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that White is White is a good enough and balanced enough team that anyone individually can have like a slightly below average game and they might still be a favorite against most teams.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Um, it was funny that the first thing you said is like, well, white is just better. Like that's uninteresting, but sometimes
Yeah.
that happens.
And I'm trying to really put into words why I think that they feel slightly more upsettable. Maybe it's just that we had closer games with them than we did Yellow outside of this last one. Um, and I don't know. I think it is just that like the things that they are doing feel, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Probably there's nothing here. I want to make very clear that I think White's going to win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the white versus pink matchup, I think we would all be delighted to see pink pull that one out, and it would be surprising.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just have to shout out Nathan here. He had a layout D on me in the back. I got open on him in the back corner to throw one up. It was perfect, and he fell over to knock it down.
Oh,
I wasn't expecting that at all.
yeah, I
Um,
wouldn't go from 7 foot tall to on the ground either.
yeah, I did hand block him immediately after that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he also had a great shot deep where he got to started yelling like I'm a handle now. Um, Nathan, I didn't mention Nathan as much earlier because he was the one who sent me some of their highlights, but
Yeah,
yeah,
fair.
he played really well.
Yeah, it also sounded like Nermal, Zach, and Caleb had hammers.
Oh yeah, this is a hammer team for sure.
Hammer team. I do think that Nermal's hammer is his best huck. Oh, like
His hammer is so good. It
it's
doesn't
really
make any
not.
sense to
Yeah.
me. He's got it. It's so zippy. It's crazy.
I feel like he puts a lot of core strength into it. Yeah. Um, how are the ladies looking? You mentioned Jamara. Is Kay the only other one on white?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I had to think about the team, but yes. Yeah, Kay has looked, I mean, Kay does what Kay does, right?
Yeah.
She is I think on a team full of people who love like making plays and they're so their like core handles here are frequently coming down to like her and Caleb loves taking shots. Kay has not been taking shots, and I think that's been huge for this team. I don't have highlights that stick out for Kay. I don't think highlights are her game. I
Yeah.
think she would be a little bit annoyed if I talked about her making a bunch of crazy throws because that means she was taking crazy throws.
Yeah.
She's super important to this team.
They're only crazy if they don't work, you know? Okay, so moving forward, the next matchup in the first round is the 2 seed versus the 7 seed, right?
Right, yes.
Uh,
So yellow and orange.
Yellow and orange. And I don't have anything written down for orange. I like nobody sent highlights to me. Did anybody send anything to you?
No, not that I don't believe so. If they did, I missed it, and it would have been from 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so Orange, I mean, have been on a bit of a slide since losing Eric. Let me pull up what their games have been over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
because
Um,
I was shocked to realize they had dropped all the way to the 7 seed. Yeah, lost to White by 6, lost to Pink 4-1. I have no idea. I had to confirm this was a real score. Pink beat Orange last week 4-1.
that sounds crazy.
That's insane.
No, there's also like a lot of games were kind of
Yellow.
low scoring at first last week because we were playing like you said with one dude sub and lady numbers were the same. But that means
Yeah,
that sometimes we were playing
a lot
2-2
more.
instead of 3-1
Yeah.
just so
4-1 doesn't look real. 4-1 is
Orange.
somehow
Yeah.
also still somehow the second craziest score from this week, but it doesn't look real. Yeah, over the last 3 weeks, Orange has won a single game.
Yeah.
Um,
No, Eric is a big player. That's why we talked about him so much before.
yeah. That being said, so Keegan at the beginning of this last week said he is just in fully everyone makes the playoffs mode. And I think that's fair. That's a great mentality to have. I think it's underselling them a little bit. they can still do stuff, right? Like Keegan really impressed me with his gameplay last week.
True.
I matched up on him a lot just because he was the guy that we had to stop in order to slow
Yeah,
them down. And it was tricky. His high release lefty is a real weapon in sand.
that's
Um,
hilarious. I love it.
and like they still have Sarah,
Yeah,
who is still going to be able to do a ton of
whatever
work
she
and did
wants
do
to
a
do.
ton of work here, right?
Yeah.
I similar to the last matchup, I think that I feel pretty comfortable picking yellow here. These are going to be the two easier picks for me to take here. I think orange is underselling themselves a little bit. I worry that they are kind of in a bad mental space going into this.
Yeah,
That might hurt them. I think if they are able to convince themselves that they have a chance.
yeah.
But yeah, now we talk about yellow. Riley this week said, I don't know if you're doing the podcast, but I got to keep up my streak of sending you highlights every week. I appreciate that a ton.
Absolutely.
So we get into that. Last week, Yellow they had some losses. I think they lost twice last week.
I
They
think
lost
that's
to
right.
you.
Did
And
they
then,
really?
yeah, they lost to you 8-10.
Huh. Yep, I thought they beat us last week.
I
Very
think they
well.
lost to White. So Riley pointed out that this is the curse of the number one power ranking spot. When he was on yellow on indoor, every time we moved him up to the one spot, they immediately went 0-2. They
Oh.
went 1-2 here, but they still got their two losses. So he is just cursed whenever we put him at one.
Oh, that's so good.
And he mentioned there were a lot of like unforced errors and like bad deep shots,
Oh yeah.
leading to that. I think that like if yellow somehow the same as last indoor, if yellow has some people that if they start messing around, they can let a game. Yellow will beat themselves, I think, uh, easier than like white will. Um,
Yeah, but I think, yeah, absolutely. Yellow's like biggest opponent is themselves or themselves, but there's a lot of wiggle room for fuckery before that
Oh
starts
yeah,
happening. Like they can just
they are
be
so
ridiculous.
unbelievably tough to score on defensively. I need to shout out Reagan here. Reagan is so good at taking away space, like especially near the end zone when
Yeah.
like it gets cramped up.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of plays where like somebody thinks they get open and she's just close enough that she can like dive over
Yeah.
and knock it down. I saw that happen
Nail
a couple
dive.
of
Yeah.
times. Reagan has been huge for this team defensively.
Yeah.
Um, and also to talk about Cray, who is just an animal. I think,
Matt Gray and Curtis both caught discs around a player
yeah.
of mine last week. Like they were in position. There was no way for them to get it, and they did this like around
They,
like hug thing,
to be clear, when she said they did this, it was like a clap catch
but
way, way
around
from
a
the phone.
person,
Yeah.
like a hug. And like they couldn't see the disc. They should, and it was clean. Like they didn't foul the defense, which is not like usually a thing, but sometimes it could be. And you would think that like mauling someone would count, but no, it was somehow still clean. Both of them. It's just annoying.
Yeah. I think Jason on your team had some comments on Cray, right? Saying that he was playing like a demon or something.
So we have some strong personalities on our respective teams, and Jason and Gray, they got at it. Like it's just not necessarily in a good way, not necessarily
Okay.
in a bad way. Um,
But yeah, this team defensively is great. This team is also just like super smart. They don't outside of, when I mentioned that sometimes they get in their heads, when they're really locked in, they don't take bad shots and like their deep shots are so accurate.
yeah, and I hate that you can say that, and I can't really disagree that when they're locked in, they don't take bad shots because I still mark Langford with my arm straight in the air, and he still throws the hammer,
And they're good.
and they're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's not fair to say they don't take bad shots. Maybe it's more accurate to say that they are accurate enough throwers that what would be bad shots just drop in.
Maybe. I also think that know your receiver is a real thing, and there isn't a single person on here who doesn't have magnet hands.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so yeah, this matchup, I think that the one thing that I would think that yellow could be attacked on, they have a really good zone. We're gonna see as we go forward. I think the teams that have started to peak are the teams that have figured out how to take advantage of these very small space in sand to
Mm.
play a good zone.
Yeah.
Yellow zone is very good. Um, I think that they are, but the one place that their zone is vulnerable to is like upline handle motion. So like strike cuts and like swing
I'm
moves.
gonna patently disagree on
Really?
that. Yeah, they have Cray, Zach, and Curtis all play really, really, really tight handle D. The way to like get past that is to get the disc past there.
Okay.
Now, you don't want to send it too far deep because there's also like Riley.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, like if you're trying to do give and go motion, you're just gonna bait a layout D from like Cray or a hand block from Zach.
Okay. My experience was that they do a really good job downfield preventing you from getting cuts under.
Okay.
And then they have their deep deeps making deep shots also difficult. That's what has stopped us is that our they've
Maybe they play
completely
us differently. I feel
maybe
like they
yeah.
played person against us and it was tough
Yeah.
and horrible.
Maybe. I think like I've said, they had some losses. With I don't remember who they were missing 2 weeks ago, but I think it was close to their full team. I think Orange has a puncher's chance here. It would require Keegan going a bit nuclear.
We could see that. There's no shoes in sand, so there's no risk. Any other highlights or lowlights for yellow or orange here from the last 2 weeks?
I heard that Frysted's streak of getting hand blocked and then catching the rebound ended at 4 or 5. It ended 2 weeks ago, so that
Love that.
stinks to hear.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Curtis did play insane defense against my team specifically. He just was everywhere.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
rough.
we can't talk about yellow and not talk about Tiff. Tiff is a scoring machine.
Oh,
She
yeah.
is a scoring machine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That is somebody who does really use their height well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Also on some defense stuff, like using that wingspan. Like I think if you put Tiff and Reagan side by side, you could not cut past them. Like I think they
Yeah.
would take up the whole
Yeah,
width of
that's true.
the tiny giant
Yeah.
fields. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so
Moving to the
moving
next
on.
one. This one I'm excited to talk about.
Blue versus purple.
So this is my first upset prediction. I think blue, the 3 seed, has been sliding recently. They do get Coco back, I have heard, which is huge. Purple started off kind of in a rough spot, but they have been really streaking recently and like rocketing up rankings.
Yeah, I don't know.
The objective.
I think it's unfair to say that what purple is doing is a streak. I think they've been working at it and they're just like the things that they started implementing are finally working.
Well, yeah,
But
they have figured it out and
yeah, they
they
have
have been
figured it out. Yeah.
rocketing up.
There's no luck involved here.
But
Just
to address really why I think this, what can you tell me about your game against Blue?
oh,
Um,
that's
which
unfair.
which was a 15-0 game.
It was a 15-0 game. Not for Gavin's lack of trying. He did have a very good greatest attack.
Heard, yeah, was he the one who jumped in through it or
Yeah, he was the one
okay.
who jumped in through it. Did jump from inbounds. There was a lot of argument about that. I really wanted to see footage so I could prove to all the haters that that was, in fact. And the throw was also a good returning throw. I think if Carly had been in mo like had been expecting that he might try to greatest it, she would have been there. That would have been their one score. That would have been worth 15 points to me. Um, but yeah, outside of that, it was 15-0. I have never seen such a competent group of men incapable of catching. The only people catching discs that night were their ladies.
They had shots to the end zone that like
Uh
were there
oh yeah,
drops in the end zone
there
or
were
were
some drops or D-ups in the end zone. There
okay,
were a few
yeah.
straight up drops.
Okay.
It was a little rough. It was a little rough. Not that we took pity on them, clearly. We
Sure.
just kind of kept going. It
Yeah,
was also
clearly.
rough. I know that you say so I think that we're going to disagree here about what Blue's problem is. I think that without Coco, they kind of went the way that Orange goes without Eric, which is that they're still very, very competent. Like Coco is not 15 points worth of player. Sorry, Coco. Um,
It is difficult for me to ever say anything negative about Coco. He is probably not worth 15 points on his own.
yeah, which is not a negative. That is just a limitation, I suppose. But I do think that the mindset around Coco is 15 points worth of player, and I think that Blue could be cruising and has cruised without Coco some. But I think they just lost that mental space
That
or
makes
that
sense. Yeah.
confidence. And so I think getting Coco back is going to be like a really big boost because they're all going to individually believe in their team again.
For sure. For sure. I am certain that they are going to come back with a
Vengeance.
vengeance and a really good mentality. I
Oh,
think
they were also missing Duda last week, and I think Coco and Duda
okay,
might
that one I didn't
be
know about. That one I didn't
15
know.
points worth of player.
That is huge. That is huge. No, so I think they're gonna come in with a mindset of like we got our team, we can win. Let's go win games now. I think against a lot of teams, a lot of matchups, I would say, yeah, I think blue is just fine and they're going to come win. I have been so impressed with purple recently.
Yeah,
They are their zone is incredibly difficult to score on. They set it really, really well. They are not worried at all about like gender matchups, which I think is huge for a zone. Just whoever is on
does
Mark,
that
whoever
well.
is in the wall does that. Everybody knows the role. I'm trying to like kind of reverse engineer what their zone is,
Yeah,
but
they do a 1-2-1.
yeah, but yeah. And like everybody, I think knows this is what I do in this zone. This is my spot. They make sure that they have everyone there. We had some success when we played them at taking like 5 minutes at a time to just like chip into like the hole in their zone like very slowly, but that's difficult to do. There's so much, I mean, they beat us that game. It was a 1 point game, but they beat us with it. Um, and
Yeah.
it's difficult to find these like tight windows that only pop up every 20 seconds or something like that if you just after swinging it back and forth.
Yeah, I'm curious what like yellow does against this zone or a team. So my team struggles to want to throw and successfully complete deep shots.
Hmm.
Um, well, we're getting better. But anyway, I think that trying to chip it up past this zone was really the problem. But I think that like the mid-range to deep space is kind of scot-free against this zone, especially when Kenneth is the deep.
So I was actually going to say the opposite. I had something I wanted to talk about, which is that I was impressed with Kenneth's deep spacing.
Huh.
Um,
Okay.
like maybe there are people who could. I mean, Kenneth is not short, right?
No,
I think
true.
there are people who could, in a true jump ball situation, like get catch over him.
Yeah,
I think that would be a bad throw to make, but he's done such a good job preventing people from getting to those spots.
that's fair.
I was looking for opportunities to make plays on him. I didn't like. I don't think if I could have gotten to a spot where it's like a 70-30 chance and he maybe can make a play, I think, sure, let's take that. He doesn't give you that. His spacing downfield has been really good. Um,
Hmm.
to your credit, like your team, probably Jason could make a play on him.
Well, I
I
was
just
thinking
don't.
like I think Ben would also make that play.
That
Like
would
I think
be
there's a lot of
safe.
yeah.
I don't know. I think that they have done a really good job making that seem like a really bad idea of a throw.
You know what? Send your tall boy. Send this Russell brothers down there. Let's see what happens.
You'll see. Yeah. Um, the other thing to talk about with Purple over the last couple of weeks, Sunil, at least last week, has been
Mhm.
clicking, right?
Sunil was a genuine deep threat.
Yep.
Yeah, threw a couple
Um,
assists.
he's
Yes.
someone who we expect to do well on sand. And when his hands are turned on,
I have never in
he's
my
gonna be
life
a problem.
expected Sunil to do well, and he just keeps doing it anyway. He does well. He's been consistently doing well the last couple of leagues. It's just a turn in Sunil's page, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
No, when he's turned on, he has been playing
Yeah.
really, really well.
And he was like outpacing people. He was getting up, being patient, like contested
Yeah.
defense, it didn't matter.
Allison was all over the highlights. Kenneth shouted out her for a layout. You mentioned her, I think,
Mhm.
playing great defense and
Yeah, she also figured out how we could do sub math so the guys didn't die. But they had three ladies, we had two ladies, and that was kind of crazy. And like we tried to do it in a way that didn't interrupt teams, but that was like,
that's helpful.
yeah, she's like laying out on the field and coming off the field to big brain it. And I was like, this is a mom. This is a true mom.
You had a play with Bailey as well, right?
Oh yeah. So I'm going for a deep look and it is I think Jason threw it and it's one of the few that Jason throws that I'm like, "Oh, this is very catchable. I don't have to do work for it." So I'm just kind of cruising and I hear not EJ but close.
No.
Yes, coming up behind me and I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, dang it." And I figured I had space, so I reach out, I go to grab the disc and I get the shit smacked out of my hand. It would have been the coolest, cleanest catch-up D on a deep shot that Bailey has ever had. And the crazy thing is, I think that she had enough, like, I think she caught up to me. I think maybe she needs glasses. He had all the space in the world to just hit all disc and, like, embarrass the fuck out of me. And instead, just, like, I couldn't feel my hand for a couple seconds. As the disc goes down, I was like, "Oh, that was a lot of hand." And she's like, "Yeah, sorry, foul, foul,
I
foul,"
was,
which is also adorable.
I was about to ask if you finally called this one, but no, she called
Yeah.
it. How much ground did she catch up? Like how far ahead
Well,
of you?
I don't know where she was on the field when I
Wow,
took off.
nice.
Like there just was a lot. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's impressive. So yeah, I predict an upset here. Purple over blue. If blue wins, I'll just get to say like, well, yeah, duh, Coco. And so it's kind of win-win for me regardless. But I think purple takes this one.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Llama is also doing really well on purple. So I think that that is. I see your point. I want to see them win.
Yeah.
I do think that purple is going to do a better job on offense if they stop trucking Bailey. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but maybe she's just short enough for this mid-tall team. But people are trucking Bailey all the time, and I think she gets open enough they could just let her get open.
Well, that's why she smacked you. She just thought that was the norm.
Can teach your team?
All right. So
Okay.
you ready to start fighting now?
When does it ever stop? So the last game of the first
Round two, field two.
round two, field two. Um,
Green versus black.
Green versus black. Now, I think that I genuinely believe that we're gonna win.
I think that I also genuinely believe we're gonna win.
Yeah, but you're not on the same team.
Right.
Yeah. Uh, and I do think that historically, like your height has gotten us, but you have also not played against our team since we really started gelling and figured some
That's
stuff
fair.
out.
That's
Like this was a team where we had like two and a half new people, and Snickers never shows up.
fair.
And so like we are going to be at full strength. Like we have worked really hard. We have a less notable like gelling and redemption story than purple, but it's pretty similar. Um, yeah, I think we're going to beat you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so look, the reasons that I feel really so Black had a rough week this last week. I think we are due to we are a very young team and we have me as a captain who, like I've said before, just wants to say rah rah, let's go, man defense, outrun them, which is maybe not the best on sand. And particularly is rough when you are playing a person down.
Hmm.
Um, our team has, when we have won games, it's been because we've just outrun and outjumped people, and we are very good at that. So being a man down, having one less sub, and missing out on Isaac, one of our two tall boys, was rough for us. But like I have to talk about, we have been doing well. I want to shout out Cash as well.
Your new kid.
Our new kid who has just been playing great. He like 2 or 3 weeks ago was like, oh, that's how you catch a disc. Like he never had bad hands, but like he had a falling over sideways clap
Oh,
catch in the
it's
end
oh,
zone
yeah.
last week or 2 weeks ago, I think. Just absolutely crazy. His hands have been locked down. If your new person is making plays in the end zone,
Yeah.
that is really good.
Yep.
And then Peyton has just been on a tear. Last week, game three, one less sub. He did not look remotely tired. He was cutting, like he was still cutting at the end, taking it on himself to do that work downfield. Um, yeah, his work and effort has been really impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Emmy also last week did really, really well.
Man.
She's someone we when I talked 2 weeks ago about when we played Purple, a lot of what we did, she did such a good job at getting in a space and then just hanging out there looking for us, catching a little scooper over the top or a high release or a short flick, resetting it. Um, Everybody is playing really well. And we're a hype team. I think when we get into the playoffs where like energy is high, that's our game.
Okay. Yeah. I do think that you have a lineup of folks who could, because energy is like a thing, also get in their heads pretty quickly. Um,
I don't know if I would ever get in my head.
you personally, ever? Uh, yeah. So, and I do think that like consistently a thing that my team does struggle with. We're not in Pink's boat, but like, man, where's the height? Like Ben is our tall boy, and I think Ben is your height.
Yeah. I mean, Jason and Steven are tall. Tall enough.
Oh, yeah, I mean like Jason's a
They're
built
not
man, but that's
like
because he refuses to lose.
yeah, I don't know if like when we have beat you in the past, we have not like beat you because you're short and we catch it over you. We beat you because you're close to the same height and Isaac and Ethan go up so well.
Yeah.
But I hear you.
Yeah.
You don't have anyone, you don't have a 6'2" guy like White does.
Yeah, or 6'1" guy like you do.
I actually think Isaac might be 6'2".
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is. Anyway, yeah, I think this game is going to be, and maybe this is just ego talking, but like the game to watch. I think it's going to be fun. I think both of us are going to be just dog water
So,
personalities.
a bit of an announcement to both of our teams here, but like everybody else listening. Kelly told me before this that she has given her team permission to spike the disc, talk some trash, and try and get us off our game. And I responded to this with the Batman Bane. You have merely adopted the dark. I was born into it. If you want to get into a who can spike the disc and talk more trash argument, let's go. This game is going to be nuts.
See, you already misunderstood. I said that they could celebrate in your face, which is a little different because they have to maintain positivity. Like they're
Okay.
not allowed to be negative and they're not allowed to be assholes. That's not spirit of the game. But if they want to celebrate a little too close to your presence about the fact that they're doing better than you, I hope they do.
That's okay. I think yes, for everybody who is not on purple and blue who will be playing at the same time, I think this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
I do need some shout outs for your team. Curtis actually told me, let me pull it up, but he gave a shout out for Steven.
Yeah. Man, there's something about new Steven. He has Curtis's number. I think he's hand blocked him every time we played against
I
him.
think that's what the shout out was.
Yeah. It's just it's kind of crazy. And like you've tried to hand block Curtis, right? Like,
Yeah, he said he had a really good hand block on Harlem. He also had a sneaky layout grab.
yeah.
Um,
He did. Nobody was expecting it. The disc was just kind of a throwaway, and then Steven just appears from behind Curtis and lays out and catches the disc. We're like, "Oh, the disc is still in play. Awesome, Steven." So that was really cool. I think that was Steven's first layout, which we were,
Heck yeah,
yeah,
heck yeah,
really excited about.
heck
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
He's
like
just so
when your new people start clicking and making
Mhm.
plays.
Speaking of clicking and making plays, in the game against Blue, he also got a hand block and then turned around and got bookies because we waited for him to get open. It
And
like
then force the
it
show.
took him like three stall counts to realize we weren't throwing it to anyone else, and so he was like, "Oh," and then started like cooking. It was really cute. But yeah, he also didn't know what bookies were. Every time we
Oh.
celebrate something he does, he's like, "Oh, what is that?" And I'm like, "How do you not know that you're doing awesome stuff?" But yeah, so really good stuff from Steven. I do think another person on my team that I'm like, oh yeah, Ben, now that everybody appreciates exactly how wonderfully incredible Riley is, I think that Ben might be just the most underrated player in
Yeah,
OKCLG.
you mentioned that to me. And I was thinking about who else I would have up there among like the most underrated players, at least in this league. Um, yeah, he might be. Like, I think everyone looks at him and goes like, "Oh yeah, he's pretty good. He can make some plays." But they still don't have him in the like the game changers category that I think he's getting close to. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that like there is something about like the level of spunk that Ben has. He might be the definition of like doesn't know he can't, so he does. And it's wonderful.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I would be willing to give you Ben for most underrated.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
So moving on from here, I look, we both have said that we think our team is winning. I happen to see that you just on our graphic here have you moving forward. So I guess that's what I get for you being the one to make this.
That's fair. That's fair.
Um,
I do have a couple of highlights and lowlights, if I may.
sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, the week that we didn't record, I listened to the sideline tell me that Marshall was out. I looked at footage. That was a bullshit out call. I should not have even remotely listened to them. I'm really sorry, Marshall. Glad you guys still won. However, the foul call that I called on you that you rolled your eyes at, I promise you just smacked all hand, but I probably should have let it go because it would have balanced out that bullshit foul out call. Sorry again. And then another kind of low light for our team. Jason threw the disc straight to Sunil. Like it just it was on and under. Sunil was just there playing defense right into his hands. I don't know. He looked surprised. Like they both looked very surprised. Um, but yeah, other than that, I think that we're dialing Hux. Jason has been really good at being a utility player, but instead of trying to win games by doing it all, he picks what he's going to do and trusts that people are going to do the other thing. So he's more of a deep threat because he's willing to leave the handle space. He's more of a handle because he's willing to throw it to other people going deep. That's been impressive. Also, Tati might be like genuinely our one like Huck star.
Really?
Oh yeah, like just
Isn't
she has been, and her completion percentage is like far above ours. Her doesn't throw it into the net percentage is far above the rest of the team.
it?
Ben is close. And then Andy has roofed a couple of people just in true superstar mode. Like he
Nice.
still just comes out of
Forgot you
nowhere.
have Andy on your team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
forgot about that one.
He's been really, really good, really enjoyable popping.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm done with my green highlights.
Okay. We can move on. Again, to be very clear, Black is winning this game, but because I didn't make the graphic, we will progress.
Who's the four seed?
Oh, you did jump us.
Yeah, we
You
did.
did jump us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so after green beats black, we're gonna have the next round of games. So it's gonna be white versus green, or one
We'll
versus
progress with
okay,
it.
white versus green, and then
But I'm doing it under protest.
purple versus yellow.
Yeah. So white green or honestly white black is interesting. Well, okay, let's actually talk about purple versus yellow first. Because this is the one that I think is the most interesting.
Okay.
Because purple really like they have just been mini yellow this whole team. They are the like old like slightly older. You'd expect them to be slower, but somehow on sand they're not.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
both have a young speedster with Frystead and Alex
Uh-huh.
Southern. Um, Southers. I've been saying it wrong a
Other.
bunch, but now I don't remember which they're Southern. They both play really, really good zone and grind out games and take deep shots when they're there. So this is like purple, like I've said, they're just mini yellow.
Mhm.
I think yellow does what they're trying to do a little bit better. Oh, Curtis is also on yellow. He's, I guess, older, but he's in that same like speedster.
He is a
Guess.
sportsler, yeah.
I guess I don't know, he may match up with Kenneth or something like that. I don't know.
Kind of a fun
I think
matchup.
what it'll come down to, one, I think I expect yellow to win this one. This is kind of the boring answer. But I've been underrating purple uh the whole time. So I'm sure they're not mad at me.
Yeah.
I expect yellow to win this one. I think that the differences here are going to be Cray and Tiff.
Hmm.
I think that if purple is able to mitigate what those two can do, they can make it a
There's a
really
lot more
close game.
focus. Yeah.
But I expect that one of the two of them will have a really big game. Maybe it's Tiff pulling in 5 scores. Maybe it's Cray having multiple Ds and like multiple good shots.
Yeah, well, you say that, but also last week, like Cray was not on his game, and Tiff was kind of just there.
Yeah,
Now she was still being a tall girl, but like
yeah,
she looked like, she showed up a little later. It
yeah,
looked like she was a little tired.
yeah,
Um, and Riley just kind of compensated. He mentioned that he had like the most layouts he's ever had. I'm
yeah,
not sure if that's a good thing.
yeah,
And I really do. I think that like there are enough people on the team that are just going to fill in those gaps that I'm not like. I believe that it would come down to those two.
yeah. I think that this is going to be a close, low-scoring game.
Oh yeah,
I
gritty.
expect the winner of this game to be about like 7 or 8 points.
Okay.
I think is what it's going to take to win this game.
Do you think that the winner of this game is going to be too tired to play in the final?
Yeah, so no, I think that if I pull up the schedule, because we are doing like third place games and like fifth place games and like a whole losers bracket, the both of these semifinals, like both teams will have a break before their final. So we'll talk about the final some when we get to that. We
Okay.
still have to talk about white green.
Yeah.
And that will play, but yeah, as far as this, I think it'll be really close. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, eight's probably too high. The scores have been dropping consistently, and these two teams are some of the droppers. I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised to see this end with like a 6 or a 7.
It's a good defensive game here.
Yeah, I think this will be a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
But I do think that yellow probably takes it.
Okay.
White green. So white, you mentioned like energy, right?
Yeah.
Gets better as the games progress, right? Every game,
Because
other
everybody
teams
gets tired.
get more tired. And teams get more like stand around or like, oh, let's take a shot
Yeah.
and get it near the end zone. And White's really good at just out jumping people in the end zone. They don't get less tall.
I don't think Nathan has to jump.
Um, so I think two of our 3 games against White have been really, really close.
Okay.
Um,
Like black.
yeah, the
Okay.
Black's game. So this is just like me judging. So I've been thinking about it the whole time. I think that they just seem more beatable to me because we got close a couple times.
Okay.
But as far as you matching up against them, um, White's just been so dominant all year. I have a hard time predicting anyone to beat them.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you to predict that we beat White because mostly this is your rankings, but I refuse to let you win. Um, if Green was going to beat White, how do they do that?
Yeah, so like my first thought for whenever it's like how does an underdog win? It's like one of their players has a game of their life. Um, I don't I think Jason's incredible. Jason, when we did the awards banquet
Yeah,
last year, got my vote for player of the year for 2025, and I think it was an absolute robbery that he didn't win it. Right? He dominated indoors, he dominated
super
sand.
sand, yeah.
Yeah, this league in particular, Jason has been the games of yours that I've watched solid. And I haven't seen him like I haven't seen him like win a game on his own. Um, and I don't so I think that if Green is to beat White, um, yeah, I mean, first off, like Ben making a couple of like I've said, scores have been dropping, right? You only need like two or three scores to swing a game sometimes.
Yeah,
Ben making two or three catches on people taller than him.
would get us really hype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, let me think. I think that I mean I've said the whole league that I think Green's ladies are the strongest core in the league.
It's pretty fun playing with Tati.
Yeah.
Tati with contacts. Oh my
Um,
goodness.
like this is not a to downplay any other team's ladies. I
No, no, no.
think White's ladies are good. We talked about how Jamara has really been clicking
Uh-huh.
with the team and K is brilliant.
Okay.
So I don't this is not to downplay them at all, but I think you and Tati are the best 1-2 lady core in the league.
Yeah.
Um and White does not play a ton of zone. They are like one of the top teams that
They're
have
taking
just been
advantage
beating
of
people.
the
So maybe that's a way that you win. Maybe your ladies just are able to sneak through, score, score, score. Um,
Do you think maintaining the zone that it's technically not a zone, it's just a
it's
force
just,
majeure,
yeah.
but do you think maintaining that works
I
in Go matchup?
I think that the times that White has looked beatable have been when they've thrown stuff away.
Okay.
It's hard to throw stuff away if it's in the end zone, but like into the net, into the wall, out the back of the end zone,
Yeah.
I've seen those happen. I'm sorry, I'm really trying to think through this
Yeah,
now.
no. I think
Um,
that you've given me stuff to think
yeah,
about for
any
sure.
defense that kind of you really just need them to be off their game.
Yeah.
And you also so the problem is that if they're off their game, they can fall back into like normal K and like Caleb like
Yeah.
swinging it a
Yeah.
bunch. So you need them to be off their game, and then also you need to take away that like short game
Yeah.
action. So that's hard. Um,
Fair enough. Okay, well,
but
it'll be fun.
yeah,
I do still think that we're gonna look at a final that is yellow versus white.
and I
So
think
I do believe in my team.
yeah, of course, yeah. I think that yeah, it's hard for me to predict a team like finals that isn't white
White
yellow.
yellow. And we've been predicting that the
It's
entire time.
it's boring for me to say like, oh, here's the top two teams are going to the finals, but like we haven't seen anything this league to make me think otherwise.
Yeah.
White has lost twice. I think both in the last 2 weeks. We said every time like I think White is eventually going to lose.
They lost to yellow and they lost to pink.
Yeah.
Which if anybody was gonna beat them in that first round, it might.
Oh, crazy. Yeah. I think White was missing someone there. That's a good point. That doesn't change my ranking. It
Man.
doesn't change my prediction. But yeah, I think that it still comes down to White versus Yellow in the finals. I think it'll be a fun game. This one is kind of the opposite matchups, right?
Uh-huh.
Where White does not play a ton of zone. And White has been beating teams offensively. Like White's
Yeah.
not. I'll look through White's games to see like what their lowest scoring league is.
Pick stuff up.
White has been winning teams by scoring a ton of points, right? So it'll be really interesting to see. Yeah. They scored 11, 15, and they scored 9 in their loss to Pink this week.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Their lowest scoring game would be
13,
their
14,
loss.
12. They have so many double digit
Yeah.
scores, which are just not super common this league. It'll be really interesting to see how this goes on. I think when we talked about this initially, I said that I thought yellow was going to take it.
Hmm.
The thing I forgot is how good White gets at the end of
Yeah, their stamina is.
their stamina. Yeah, I mean, I want to say they're undefeated their last game. They've had two losses. Neither of those were their last game of the week. They did beat 2 weeks ago. They beat Yellow 9-8 in a last game
Hmm.
of the night.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yellow's last game. Now they've been winning it anytime it's against us, but their last game is usually their sloppiest game. sloppy for yellow doesn't mean they don't
Yeah,
win. It
yeah,
just means that it's messier, and if white can capitalize, that could.
yeah.
This does feel like a toss up to me. I still want to root for yellow because I love that Riley has been like, well, everyone makes it to finals with the team that he
Yeah,
has. But
yeah. I
it's
no,
close.
it's close. I think white takes this game.
Okay, we disagree. I'll put white on the graphic just for you. Uh, but yeah.
You're able to change them now.
I can't change them now. What are you talking about?
All right. I think that's all we've got. Excited to get into finals.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great league. Sign up for Epicenter.
Yeah, sign up for
Epicenter's gonna be a blast.
and then sign up for Summer League once you get
Yep,
all the
yep, yep,
goodness
yep,
in.
yep, yep.
All right. See you out there. Good luck this week.
Later.